Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Today is a fun day, right? Hold on one second. Let me drink some water. Today is a fun day because my sister and I, and I'm talking about Susanna. I know I have a lot of sisters. We are not only business partners for anthologies and publishing, but we are also doing history of Halloween. Happy Halloween to everybody today. So today I have taught Susanna last night. She's a very fast learner on the makeup illusion. So I'm sure you guys have seen the cover of this. I almost say the cover of this magazine, but the cover of this show that I did a makeup on illusion. This was about 5 years ago, maybe I did that. And basically, I told her, hey, why don't we talk about the history of Halloween? Um, and then I will talk about the different ways that culture and people from different regions of the world on how they celebrate the Day of the Dead, right? So I have firsthand experience on a couple of these different types of cultures, and today I'm going to talk about that in here live. But of course, because my sister has a master's in history, I had to tell her, hey, cover the history part and then I'll talk about the rest of the other part. She's the expert, so I'm expanding that invitation from the expert here on history, and she's a history buff. But here's what we're going to do. First of all, I want to invite you guys. Today is the very last day to, okay, join our book. And people always say, hey, how do I go into your TV? This TV is Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Google Play, you name it, right? And it also goes to my YouTube. My YouTube's about 62,000 right now, trying to grow it. But here's the thing. If you go to the TV, usually I'll charge around 150 for 45 minutes. But if you are in our book already as an author, you actually can get your messages out there for free because it's part of my services for having you be part of Level Up Academy, right? So this book is called Against the Grain: Finding Belonging in a World of Resistance. Look how beautiful this book cover is. My dear sister Susanna created this book cover for our book. The only thing I probably did in here is initiate the whole city thing, and then she went all out. What I'm saying is, she is amazing. So if you're looking for a speaker, if you are looking for somebody to work in your organizations hand in hand with HR in terms of productivity and mental wellness, in terms of belonging, she has a lot of research to back that up. She is the person that you would need to hire for that. So let me know how you want to engage with Susanna Dawn. But here's the QR code. Today, again, is the last day. Let us know. Our first Zoom is going to be this Saturday. And we cannot wait to have you in our direction. Here's another look of that. These are some of the books throughout the year that we have done: Beyond Boundaries, Moving Beyond Boxes. It's all about beyond, right? And Rebel with a Cause and Against the Grain. Now, today, we're talking about Beyond the Grave. No, I was just kidding. Maybe, right? So make sure you guys are here. Make sure you guys are asking us questions on what you need from history part, or maybe just add your information in terms of, are you able to celebrate these things, or have you actually celebrated these type of celebration of the death, right? So let me go ahead and bring my sister in. Are you guys okay? First, you're gonna see. Ta-da! Crazy face. Okay, so how it works is this. You actually, if you look at the face just right up front, you see how it looks like my face is getting cut, right? Right here. Looks like it's getting cut. That's what is the illusion. Same thing for here. But we're going to do makeup while we're talking because it's not done. We're going to finish it off today, guys. We're going to finish it off. So it looks like it's getting cut, okay? So here's my sister Susana. Ta-da! All right. So first of all, let's talk about the history.
Talk about the history. The fun part, what I love about Halloween is the connection. It all began with the Celts, and then the Celts were Ireland, England, and northern France. And you know me. I have my Forest of Duinbrook, and that's very much a Celtic focus when I look at that forest. So here we're talking about a time where they would celebrate on November 1st, the end of the summer and the harvest and the start of the dark winter time. And it was believed through the Celts that the night before the Celtic New Year, November 1st, was when the lines were more blurred between the living and the dead. So spirits could actually come over into this world, and all the problems that they would have were blamed on the spirits. So they created an event at that point to where the druids would build large bonfires. People would burn crops and animals to sacrifice to their Celtic deities. They would wear costumes of animals. All of this as a celebration and a way to try and stop the ghosts. And so that was all like 2,000 years ago is when that was going on. And then the Romans conquered most of the Celtic territories by AD 43, um, the early years of this 2,000 years that we're in now. Uh, and over that time, though, as they ruled the lands, it became a combination of festivals, like Roman festivals and Celtic festivals. Everything kind of merged. But then in 609, Pope Boniface IV dedicated the Pantheon in Rome to Christian martyrs, and the Catholic feast of All Martyrs' Day was established in the West. And while it was first on May 13th, it was Pope Gregory that shifted it to November 1st. So it's like, gee, it went right back to the Celtic New Year in a way, whether
Mm-hmm.
they knew it or not. and then and then it made its way over here. I mean, the Puritans were not exactly the most Halloween celebration type, probably. But the colonials, they had their festivals at that time, telling ghost stories. I mean, think of it. You have, and I can't remember the author, but this would be the time that Ichabod Crane and the story of the Headless Horseman were created. Was during those colonial days, and during that period, you've also got all the immigrants that are coming in. So, I mean, this is why the U.S. is a melting pot, because when you've got those who are immigrating into the U.S. and you have Native American stories, and everything just kind of got combined. Kind of, like when I said the Romans and the Celts, things were being combined, ceremonies were being combined. Well, it's not limited to that time. It's a continuous thing. It still keeps happening. So into the 1800s, there was a move in America to mold Halloween into a holiday about community and get-togethers versus the ghosts, the pranks that were going on in witchcraft. So towards the turn of the 1800s into the 20th century, 19th to 20th century, that's when you start seeing more on the Halloween parties and the celebrations. Um, and by the 20s and 30s, I mean, if you look at the Roaring '20s, Halloween became a secular holiday. Of course, we had people just it also became a night of vandalism for some reason. I remember hearing or seeing all the toilet paper rolls being thrown through trees and over houses and egging houses. It's the pranks and stuff, but it's it just keeps evolving. The Halloween parties kept evolving into the 50s, and now, I mean, look at the look at the movies that we have now and the costumes, and it's just become such a a key day. And actually, as I'm kind of talking through this and thinking about it, Halloween, in some ways, yes, a lot of people wear masks during Halloween, but if you think about it, a lot of those masks are actually, for many of them, it's who they are on the inside. For a lot of people, in a small way, they can be a little bit more authentic and just enjoy themselves that one night. I've seen that with a lot of people. It's one
Oh,
night. I mean, if you think about it,
yeah.
it's not in the history stuff, but when I look at my own experiences and I see people and I hear what they say about Halloween, for many of them, it's like the one night that they feel safe to be themselves because everybody expects you to dress up and they're not always thinking that your costume is, maybe it's not quite a costume. So
Hi guys. Do you like my face? Oh yeah,
I need
I'm
to see the
getting there.
other side like you've got.
Yeah, the other there. So, you got a little bit of the history of Halloween, and thank you for people who are here, and thank you for the people who are in YouTube. Thank you so much for coming. We have about a thousand people here now, sister. So, if you
Cool.
notice, I just added my eyeshadow, and it looks like my whole face right now is bitten, right? Like you see right here. And if I go like this a little bit more, you see in the front of it, it looks like it's getting cut and it's slowly getting there. So my sister was talking about the history of Halloween, right? So let me kind of piggyback on what she talks about, the kilts and the Celtic roots of Halloween. I think it's called Samhain, something
Yes,
like that.
Samhain.
Yeah, so Halloween traces its origins, right, from the Celtic festival of Samhain. That's how really it got started. And it was celebrated obviously 2000 years ago in what is now called Ireland, the UK, and then northern France, obviously. But the Celts mark Samhain as the harvest and the beginning of winter. Like they're believing, basically saying that it was time when the veil between the living and the dead, what she was talking about, is the thinnest, right? Like somehow, like think of a Venn diagram, like that in between is during the Halloween. So it's more of like the liminal period. It allowed the spirits to roam the earth, and families would honor their deceased ancestors while also wondering or warding off the bad spirits, the malevolent, the entities. They would have bonfires and costumes and offerings. I doubt back 2,000 years ago that their customs was like ours, for sure. I
It
would
was
want
animal
to see how
skins.
their makeup looks like at that time, right? But as Christianity spread, like what my sister was saying, when that actually took over, some Haynes customs were merged with All Saints Day, All Souls Day, right, in the 8th century. So it transformed some Haynes into a time to remember saints and souls. Now, over time, these rituals evolved into what we know as Halloween, right? And you see Disney and things like that, even looking at that. So, combining Christian elements with Celtic folklore, traveling across Atlantic with like the Irish and the Scottish immigrants to become the Halloween that we recognize today. Now let's talk about Mexico or Mexicans, right? Because I lived literally like back in the day. California was part of Mexico, right? There was a trade that happened, and now it became part of the United States. One of the biggest state in United States. Obviously, Texas is the number one, but they call it Dia de los Muertos. Sister, say it. Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah. De los Muertos.
There you go. Day of the Dead, right? And there's actually a zombie movie called The Day of the Dead, my favorite zombie movie. The Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead in Mexico, takes place literally November 1st and 2nd. And it's literally a vibrant and joyful celebration because it's rooted in Aztec and Mesoamerican traditions, right? And so indigenous cultures like the Aztecs honored their dead for several weeks, celebrating, I think it's called Meta Quechuchal, the goddess of death. It's kind of crazy how this like history that I've digged up. So Dia de los Muertos is literally distinct, right? It's colorful ofrendas. It's like altars. Like they have little altars that they decorate with marigolds and candles and food and sugar skulls and photos of their deceased family members, right? And then, oh, look at my camera. It's also doing some weird crap. It's because it's Halloween, 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 Halloween. Okay, guys. So the holiday is characterized by a belief that the dead return visiting the living, with families gathering, remember their loved ones, right? And so when that happens, right, they actually become very iconic representation of the celebration. So if you come here in San Diego, you see a lot of sugar skulls, and it actually is popularized all over. Now you see kids doing like the whole flower skulls, and you see some of the outfit even, your Halloween spirit Halloween. Right? The Mexicans festival literally emphasizes that death is a continuation rather than the end of life. So when they celebrate, they're holding it both in cemeteries and homes to make the departed feel welcome in the world of the living, obviously, because we're still living. Now, kalag-kalag, which is in the Philippines, kalag-kalag means soul, by the way. Sister, can you say kalag?
Kalag?
Kalag, yes, that is means soul. So in the Philippines, the practice of kalag-kalag, meaning soul, aligns with All Saints Day back in the Celts time. It's also November 1st, not October 31st, but the traditions are very distinct, and it's deeply connected to the Filipino family values, which means they honor the souls of their deceased, their loved ones visiting the cemeteries. Here's the thing: I grew up in the Philippines, I was born and raised there, and we literally decorate, clean up the cemetery, but we have karaoke. We have food, we dance, we have karaoke in the cemetery. And most people will be like, well, that's disrespectful, right? That's disrespectful. Why would you guys do that? We light candles, we offer prayers. After the long prayers, because they're mostly Catholic, they literally have karaoke and food and music and enjoy. It's communal meal, believing that the spirits will join them in their feast, right? And then it's a sense of familiar unity, marks kalag-kalag. And really, the rituals meant to appease the spirits so that they could celebrate continuing their presence in family life, because they believed like when you died, some of the spirits linger, but some of the spirits actually like crossed over. And during that one day of the year, they can come back and celebrate with you. And so that's why they offer food. And even in the Chinese tradition in my house, we actually have like, I think my grandma says 7 or 10 fruits, different kinds of fruits that we offer so that they can have an option. Right. So that's like how Kalagalag includes storytelling sessions, and we're talking about ghost stories and when our family died, what are some weird, odd things happening. And everybody always shares that. And so that's really what the Filipinos do, right? We kind of like talk about that. How about you, sister? What are some of your traditions in your house?
That would be none. My family was not one that really did much when it came to Halloween. So there wasn't, but at the same time growing up, I was out in the middle of the country. So the closest the closest neighbors were a quarter mile away.
Oh
So
wow.
the within the house, within the home, it really was nothing. Mom would make sure she had candy in case anybody showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, other than that, the concept of dressing up was not instilled in us. So, like I told you, this is a first.
It's always the first, right? Always the first.
Here,
Do you
everything
guys
is
do
a
at least
first.
like, give candies to the kids or what?
Well, yeah, we do the candy, and then when I had during the at one point when during one of my marriages, I had a daughter who was adopted from China, so um, we would go to the mall as the place to take her and let her kind of do the trick or treat at the stores. But that would have been like 15 years ago.
Oh wow. So maybe you and Danielle and myself will go to the stores and bring her kids and pretend they're our kids too, and then we just dress up just cause. That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way we don't look awkward. Like, what are you guys doing here? We have kids. See, we have three kids. Like, borrow Danielle's kids for that purpose. Oh my god, I hope she's not watching. She'll be like, "What are you guys doing with my kids?" Right? Oh my god,
Oh,
that would
it,
be
it, it
so.
could it could get even better though. I mean, if we did that, and we throw in the one who's still a little bit bigger but not out of high school.
Hey Matt, do you see my face? Does it look cut right? Do you see it? It looks cut. And this one too. And so is Susanna's, right? We haven't even done our lips yet because we're like into this conversation. Matt's laughing.
We're at
Both
the
of you
halfway
got it
point.
on
We got
Happy
time.
Halloween, Susanna. This is getting deep already. Hi, Zion. I have these I love these costumes, right? This is just like paint, brother. It's literally paint and eyeshadows. That's what we're using and makeup because we wanted to celebrate Halloween, but also give historical information about Halloween. Now, let me tell you about Obon. It's the Japan's festival for the dead. And Japan's Ubon festival actually is celebrated in August. Actually, not in November, because it is a Buddhist tradition with roots going back over thousands of years, right? It's time to honor their spirits of their ancestors who believe that they return the world from the dead now to the living during this period. Now, Ubon is actually marked by a variety of rituals that they do, including lantern lighting or dancing. It's called Bon Odore, the placing of the offerings, right? And then Toro Nagashi, it's a floating lanterns, is one of the most visual striking costumes where paper lanterns are floated on the rivers or the sea. Now, this symbolized that the spirits return to the other world, right? Family gathers and they still pay respects, they clean their ancestors' graves, and then they invite their spirits home. Ubon emphasizes the gratitude, like how grateful they are to their ancestors, and the intersection between living and the spirit realm during that time. Now, sisters, have you had a lantern lighting yet?
I haven't done a lantern lighting. However, in China, I have seen, and it's normally at the beginning of April. The the I think 3 days that they celebrate the dead, and we'll go out to the gravestones and clean them up, put food or favorite things on the graves, and that's their celebration of the family.
Hmm.
Because I've seen it. I've seen this one firsthand because when I was going over with a spouse, then they were Chinese, so it was seeing essentially going to visit my father-in-law at that time, and so just seeing the way. and every place is different. But when you go to China, pretty much everybody's cremated now, and
We don't have room.
and everything is in the tombstones are like a four by four, 6 by 6 or something with a foundation and a stone that's etched, and it's designed for family, for the mom and dad.
Wow. Yeah. That see, like I have done a lantern festival here in the States actually. We do it sometime here in California. The problem is that the environmentalist here gets upset because once the lantern obviously is done, there's just trash everywhere on the ocean, right? So they get upset about that, and it's a problem when it comes to environment. Matt and Zion, tell me, how do you guys celebrate Halloween? I'm actually very interested. Like, Zion, I think, is in Lagos, Nigeria. So, how do you celebrate in Lagos, Nigeria? How do you celebrate Halloween? I want to know. I'm going to talk about, and the reason I say that's because this is like my last kind of coverage on Halloween traditions and cultures from other places. So I would like to know how you guys do that. So my last one is the African ancestral celebrations. But this is based on research. I would like to know you guys, how do you celebrate Halloween, right? In your country, because there's always variations. But from what I've read, African cultures have a very diverse range of beliefs and rituals surrounding death and ancestor worship. So, and like Halloween, like Dia de los Muertos, African traditions are often influenced by animistic and indigenous religious beliefs. They view ancestors as active members of the community who can influence the living. So, for example, I've read that in Ghana, okay, um, the Ga people, they call it the Ga people, hold elaborate funerals and celebrations that honor the dead or the deceased through dance, drumming, and offerings, believing that their ancestors guide them and protect them, right? Provide those protection. And also the Ga intricate fantasy coffins that represents the deceased life and interest, and viewing death as transition to a different plane of existence. And then the Igbo people, this is what I've read. Again, Zion, I would love for you to add to this. In Nigeria, they're called Igbo. They celebrate Ikiji as a time of harvest and ancestors' veneration. So they basically invite spirits to participate in community festivities. And then ancestors are also both the protectors and the intermediaries between the spiritual and, of course, the earthly realms, right? So these rituals really reflect a strong familial connection across generations. So, what I've noticed from this research is that everybody else's tradition is about family and tradition. And then the United States kind of just dressed up and get drunk. Like,
Well, it evolved over time.
I don't
Was
know
it
if we've evolved.
well, okay. There was okay, so maybe evolve isn't quite the right word. It changed over time, but because it went from what it was in the Puritan days, which was really ghost stories and pranks and fear of witches and everything, to into the 1800s. Not so much. I mean, they're still going to have the fear, but they're also looking at a different type of community event and something that's to bring communities together and families and having parties, which is a little bit different than what it would be in the in the colonial and in pre-colonial times to now we got movies, and quite frankly, the movies run the gambit.
Yeah, it's mostly like the Halloween is like Michael Myers, right?
Never
Um,
watched it. You're the one that's got all the zombie movies, and
oh, that's a slasher movie. Um,
but I haven't seen the Halloween series. I didn't watch Carrie. I um, didn't watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All the stuff that you think of as classic Halloween, um, but that's it's not quite where I went.
yeah, well, my face looks like a slasher right now, especially this one right here. It looks like, don't you see it? It looks like someone literally like cut my face off and like just weird. um, and I'm liking this actually. Look at that. You have to like stare at it, guys, to really like see that this part is getting cut right here and it's just moved, right? Same thing for this. It's getting cut and getting moved. And our lips is this way because it's supposed to be moving. It because there's a cut, the lips are cut this way too. But I think
Everything
we
is
need to put,
shifting
yeah, I think we need to put white
on
on
the
the
other half
part
of the
that there's no
lipstick.
yeah, to kind of even the skin tone. Um I would love to know Halloween traditions from other people. Like, what do you guys do on Halloween? Right? I didn't know that's the interest. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what you're referring to because we move on to a lot. Um, Happy Halloween, Sister April. I've been to the festival. Oh, which one? Which festival? The Japanese one? Kalagkalag, Dia de los Muertos, or Obon? Which one? I would love to. Oh, I actually dance at Bon Odori. Oh, wow. Okay, so Japan. That's awesome. Yeah. How was that, by the way? Look at sister. Oh my God, she's here. You didn't hear the part that we're borrowing your kids for the mall, right? So we could dress up? That's literally what we're gonna do. Oh my gosh, happy Halloween, everybody. She's like, I'm listening. Oh no, we're in trouble now, sis.
Oh
Borrowing
well,
children without their parents' consent. It's so interesting to hear how different cultures celebrate Halloween. I know, right? Like, I remember even in the Philippines, like growing up, we would have ghost stories a week before Halloween and during Halloween. And then we actually would talk about like the past, like all of these people who actually died, and if they liked certain things like certain foods, we would cook it and put it in there. um, and it's really funny because Filipinos, a lot of us, like a lot of those people who live in the squatter area, they don't have anything. They don't even have electricity, they don't even have food, but they literally like, I feel like after, like during Halloween, they're so happy because they literally could take the food because they we just leave the food, we leave it there and we leave. And then the Chinese usually have the best food preparation. And so over time I've noticed that the Chinese, they put gates on their dead, like they have the biggest like space for the dead, and they put gates and locks when they leave, because people do break in and eat their food, and it's, they really truly believe that that is only for their ancestors, right? So like, why are you touching my food? And then there's like fruits and like traditional Chinese, like some of them fly this food from China to offer to their dead. Not even the living could eat it, only the dead. And so some of the kids get really upset and it's like, Grandma, that's not fair. Blah, blah, blah. Great grandma's dead like 100 years ago. Like, we want to celebrate. And you will get spanked if you say disrespect like that. Like, you will be not eating for a whole day. Because it's a huge tradition, right? It's a huge tradition of Halloween. But I want to know, what are you guys' traditions? And also, what are you doing for Halloween today? Matt says, sometimes I've gone to a couple of haunted houses. which is fun and scary at the same time. But most of the time, I've seen your regular trick or treat door to door. Oh, here's the thing that most people also don't think. Some kids have allergic to are allergies to peanuts, like my daughter. So most people have candy that are mixed, and it was really hard at first, like for my daughter to go trick or treating, and we don't want her because people have a bowl and they grab a candy. Well, if there's lots of peanuts or whatever, so let her wear gloves. Like she's always a princess or whatever, and she always wears gloves, so it's not really hard for her to like be awkward with her friends. So she would grab gloves, and then she is not allowed to eat any of those candy. So I would carry candy on my pocket for her to eat while her friends are eating, because those candies I know are safe. And then when she gets home, we literally dump the candy and read everything to make sure. There was one time, I think we were living in Boston. Some sickos were giving kids like blades on their candy, like underneath they put blades in there. They put top of the needles, like it was horrible. It was actually on the news, so we had to watch for those. So what I did, because I didn't want to stop just because for my kids, so we got a like a zoo gloves, but like I beautify it so that if there's needles or anything in there, it doesn't go through her finger. Um, I mean, I went all out with my kid. Like, I want to make sure they were having fun. We dressed up all the time. My husband actually spends really good money. Some of his costumes are 1,200 bucks. Um, and it's tradition for our kids. Their daddy walks as a zombie. And sometimes I would make movies for him to come. Like that's his favorite. Halloween is his favorite, like traditional, holiday. We celebrate, we put graves in our house. Like right now, we actually didn't do anything this year, but we usually put graves in our house. We would decorate, like music. We spend good money, more than Christmas actually, on Halloween in our house. We are a family that you would consider, like, we want to go all out on our children, but also because we wanted to as an adult to be like kids too. So we celebrate Halloween like that. Another thing that I also see is like some people who are vegan, they want to, I don't want to say ruin the tradition, but literally they would have carrot sticks and celery as a giveaway. Sister, what are some of the candies that you provide people?
At this point, it's whatever's cheapest. It's going to be actually the other thing is whatever candy I've got, it's got to
Uh-huh.
be something I'm willing to eat.
What's your favorite candy then for Halloween?
Uh, See, Bella can't have it. It's a
Bella,
baby Ruth.
what is it?
It's a baby Ruth.
Oh, I love Baby
I
Ruth.
love the baby Ruth.
Payday is good too. Payday. What's your
But see,
favorite
see,
guy?
that's my daughter's name now too, is Ruth.
Oh,
So it's like it just fits.
yeah.
But the baby
So
Ruth, the almond joy, and the not so much the Reese's. I mean, I like a Reese's once in a while, the peanut butter cups and such, but not a lot. I can there and maybe it's just because I'm older now. The flavor just doesn't quite seem to be what I remember.
yeah,
Whereas
I
the
like
almond
Reese's
joy
Pieces.
and the Butterfinger and the baby Ruth, it's like I can eat those anytime. Those are the dangerous ones.
Oh man,
Or
now you made me want to go to like get some candy. I used to go to Costco of 10-pound candy, or like Walmart will have
um,
10-pound candy. I like suckers, but I only like Chupa Chups. I don't like regular suckers, right? I don't know what it is. So let's, since we're talking about movies, I didn't, Matt's like a slasher movie. I didn't know there was a difference. There's genres and things like that. We have people from Hollywood actually on Netflix right now that does the all the, I can't even get him to do an interview right now, but all of the horror films that out there, and I watched like 1920s, 1939, like all the classic zombie movies, is because I wanted to see, George Romero is like my favorite guy when it comes to zombie movies. I've met Nicotero that does The Walking Dead, and I asked him about makeup and how to get that nitty gritty. And if you don't have any money, because I went to a convention called Monster Palooza. There's all monsters, all kinds. It's for Halloween, right? And they do it twice a year: Sana Monster and Monster Palooza. If you're not ready to spend, don't go. It's so expensive. But the prosthetic that they would use on these things, like the FX, because honestly, guys, if I didn't do what I'm doing now, I want to be an FX makeup artist. It's really like what I want to do. I love the effects and the art, right? Like, I'm not very good at drawing. Like, if you say, CJ, you're gonna die if you don't draw, I'm like, I'm dead. But if you talk about makeup drawing, ooh, I can do that, right? That's something like I'm just so excited. But for so we have family friendly Halloween movies. Like, how have you seen Hocus Pocus, sister?
I think so. Yeah, because Hocus Pocus 2 just came out within the last year or something, right?
Yeah. So
So
this Hocus
yeah,
Pocus
those
actually came out when I came here in the United States, like
yeah,
early 90s, right? Like 93. Nightmare Before Christmas.
always.
Yes. Casper. Have you seen Casper?
Oh yes.
Okay. Casper's cute. Halloween Town.
Actually, let me give you something on Halloween Town, because where I live, it was actually shot in St. Helens, Oregon. So the movie, every year they have cast, and they basically in St. Helens will redo the Halloween Town. They'll have people come in that will look it over, and they'll see the houses that were in Halloween Town. So it's like a half hour to 40-minute drive from where I live to get there. And,
Mm.
and even the cast members will show up because there's been four of them now.
Oh wow. Yeah, Halloween Town, you're right. Coraline. Do you like watch Coraline?
I like to watch Coraline. I haven't watched it in a while, but I know you said Bella
Let
couldn't wait to.
Yeah, she did. So here's she dragged me, literally dragged me to the movie theater. And she watched it twice, one with her friends and one with me and her dad. So when she was little, when she was watching this and I let her watch it, she's like, "Mommy, can I sew button on your eyes?" She would walk around with buttons, right? And a needle, finding a way to put that on my eyeball so she could get cupcakes from me. It was hilarious. And that's when I had to learn French macaroons, so she won't put buttons on my eyes. Oh,
That
oh.
kid. Well, and a couple of others to throw in there, which may be on your list, is Haunted House.
Oh, yeah, Hotel Transylvania. Have you seen that one?
A long time ago.
And then Monster House,
Yes, I've seen Monster House too.
Goosebumps,
The more what? Let me ask you which one. You talking the movie or you talking the series?
the
The movie with
2015.
Jack Black. Yeah.
Okay, okay. How about the Adams Family? Who hasn't seen the Adams Family? That's so crazy.
Well, and then pick your version, because there was Adam's Family, the TV show. There were the movies,
And the
and then now
animated
you
was
got
in
the animated
2019.
movies. Because the guy that played Gomez, and I can't remember his name from the movies, he was like perfect for
Yeah.
that role.
Ooh, little crush there
John,
for Gomez. Okay, anyway, moving along. Paranorman. Paranorman.
oh, Paranorman is so much fun.
Right. Okay, so those are like the kids kind right? Like it's kid friendly. This one is the classic horror Halloween. How about the 1978 Halloween movie?
No,
Ooh, Psycho.
I
In
have
the 60s, the first
I
one,
can't.
1960.
I'm not sure if I saw the whole thing, but I do know I've seen at least parts of it. I think I've watched it, but it would only been like once.
Oh wow. Sister, thank you for doing that. It was really hard for my kid. I had to maneuver things. Like even going to school for her was really hard. So instead, like I've seen moms who have kids who have allergy and they come and they're like demanding that the school have to do this. So I go in the path of least resistance and I try to be inclusive. So what I do is I volunteer as a mom to do the parties so that my kid don't feel like she's special because I have to go do special things for her. So what I do is I would bake cakes or I would make things for everybody that my kid can eat. But I don't make a big deal out of it. I do tell the teachers like this is, no nuts because Angelina has allergies, but it's going to be good for everyone, right? And so the kids love it. And I would cook food. I would have like, I'm always the whole mom that does the events. I do events all day long. I enjoy it. I love it. I make things. This is how I realize that I can make little cool stuff. And I would do customized things. I would spend huge money. Like when they had graduated from fifth grade, I spent like $180 on their cake, small cake, because one kid was having celiac problem, the other one was gluten issue, and then of course Angelina has a nuts allergy. And I found a Four Seasons baker, the bomb baker, really good. She does my Louis Vuitton cakes and my Gucci and my Hermes cupcakes. I'm bougie, okay, I cannot help myself. But she does it like in red velvet and banana and like chocolate tiramisu, like she does it all. And it's allergy free, gluten free. Like it's just perfect. And when I eat gluten free crap, like it tastes like paper. I'm like, ooh. But she is so good. The kids love it. So I would spend money for my kids for all of our classmates, right? And so then the parents usually will ask, who's doing the party? And the kids are like, Mom, it's Mrs. Leland. Oh, okay, you can eat. Like she's safe. Like, because I know that I always ask the teacher, who in this kids or parents, your kids have allergies, I'm going to be considerate. And they didn't have to worry about every single party. They didn't have to worry about anything, right? I customized everything, the banners, everything for them. I mean, I went all out of my kids because I know that they're only kids once and I never had parents. So I wish that all of these things that I do for my kids was done with my parents. And I didn't go to work for 10 years to be with my kids, right? And even when I did, I had to do part time to be with them. And now they're still complaining, like, Mom, you don't have time for me anymore. I'm like, dude, you're 20. Like, what? So, like, what do you want me to do with that? Right? So it's so crazy. My family tradition was to make homemade popcorn balls. This was in the 70s. Ooh,
That
what
was a
kind of
Christmas thing
popcorn?
too.
Yeah, I love that. And Matt's like, yeah, you definitely have to be careful when it comes to basket candy. Yeah, there's some crazy ass people out there. I try and resist no chocolate. I've been focused on my, I don't know if I can do that. No chocolate. Sister, have you seen The Exorcist from 1973?
Nope,
Night of the Living Dead, 1968.
nope,
Oh man, you got to. A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984?
nope,
Jesus. Friday the 13th, 1980.
nope,
Frick, we're gonna have to have movie nights. The Shining, 1980.
nope,
Scream, 1996.
nope,
Oh my god. Poltergeist, 1982.
nope,
Carrie,
nope.
1976. Oh my god. Okay, so this one is a modern horror. How about Get Out? This is a 2017.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Hereditary,
Never heard of that.
2018. The Conjuring,
I've heard of it, but I haven't
the
seen it.
series. Okay. How about It?
I saw it on TV. So with Tim Curry.
It. This is a movie, 2017 and 2019.
I didn't watch the recent ones, but I watched the one it was creepy enough, and that was with John Boy and a few others. Like I can't remember his name, but John Boy from the Waltons and Tim Curry was the clown and
Oh wow. There's Beetlejuice. Have you seen
oh hell
Beetlejuice?
yeah. I
This is
haven't seen I
Halloween.
haven't seen the new one, but I've watched the first
Okay.
one many
If
times.
you if you like want to laugh on zombie movies and you don't want to be too scared, Shaun of the Dead. Watch it. 2004. Shaun of the Dead is hilarious. Zombieland, it's kind of funny, but there's a lot of gory stuff in Zombieland. But I like Zombieland. There's one and two now too. Um Zombie movies that I like is the 1968 Night of the Living Dead. Dawn of the Dead 1978 is good. Day of the Dead 1985 and a Zombie 1979. Those classics I love. And then the modern ones, 28 Days Later.
Yes. No,
Wow.
no, no, no. Not 20. I've seen it,
There's there's
but the
28
one
Days Later. There's
30
20
Days of
weeks.
Night. No, wait. Those are two different things.
No,
I'm
those are
getting
two.
confused. 30
Yeah.
Days of Night is what I've seen.
30 Days of Night is amazing, but they're not really zombie. They're like vampire in the next generation or something. I
Yeah, I
watch
know.
that. I have all of that movies. Like I have everything on Plex. 28 weeks later is also good. And then World War Z is kind of good for zombie outbreaks. Uh, but my most favorite one is Train to Busan. That zombie movie is so amazing. I Am the Legend is a good zombie movie with Will Smith because they have German Shepherd in there. Aha. Hey, Mike, look. Do you
I've
like
seen
that?
that one.
My face is getting cut, bro. Are you gonna go and heal it? Are you gonna do something about it? I Am the Legend is good, and then Resident Evil, right? So
But,
yeah.
but remember too, I Am Legend is a remake of what was it, like The Last Man on Earth or something from the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the same premise, but it was the remake. So it's always interesting too to see how some people do the remakes.
Yeah. Dead Snow. I was kind of taken back by it because it's a horror comedy, like Nazi zombies in the mountains. It's pretty brutal, but I love brutal. I love all the gore. I love like all that. Like it's so crazy because I'm watching their makeup, guys. Like, oh, I can do that, and I'm really enjoying the makeup. Anyway, I didn't think that we could really hit all of the things that we did today, but thank you guys so much for being here. Take a picture because this is me walking around my whole town today, getting lunch, and see what they're gonna say to me. They're like, "CJ, what the
Yeah,
heck?"
me too. I'm gonna do the same thing. You have busted. You moved me beyond so many boundaries.
But you are. Well, I'll be honest. You are a good student because I have taught makeup for a while. To some of our locals, like the basic of skincare and makeup. And illusion is actually an advanced makeup because you have to have the capacity to listen well, and then b, you have to make sure that you are um, looking at the tools that you need and what you have already. So I wanted to zoom in just so you could see, guys, that this one right here is getting cut. Right, you see my face, it looks like it's getting cut if you stare at it enough. Like this one is falling down and this one's falling down and my lips are getting cut. Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to get closer just because I can't see without the glasses.
Yeah, I try to zoom into my stuff here. It's so funny. But yeah, anyway, we have to end. Oh my god, we have to end. Dr. Z
Have
is the
to
most.
end is like, oh geez.
I know. Love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. The new It is so much more graphic. It was wild. It blew my mind when I saw it and I had to watch it again. Um Matt, Train to Busan. Yeah, try to watch that one. Bye guys. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. See ya.